second and let's talk. Yo, DJ, roll that beautiful champagne footage.
For your invitation, to experience the clink, the chaos, and all of the empowerment you desire. There's a secret in the bottle, the bottle, the bottle. I just can't get a little clink with chaos. You know we got some. Hella hood with class, baby, I'm doing one. Come sip and savor so we can spill some. And if you lost your way, we'll leave the light on. There's a secret in the bottle, the bottle, the bottle. I just can't get enough.
Champagne secrets. Champagne gang, FizzFam, Confidante. Welcome to the chalet located in Champagne City. You see it. You see it. Come join me, the Empress, for grown discussions and bubbly banter. Over here, we give classy with a twist, huh? A little clink with chaos with a side of charm. So if you're ready to sip, savor, and spill, baby, come on in. Grab your favorite glass of bubbly. Kick your feet up on one of those chaise lounges over there. Say hi to a few people in the chat. Settle in, and let's get ready to get into it. Welcome to the Champagne Room, where we handle all of our tough discussions. How y'all doing on today? I hope your day was blessed. I hope you took out the time to maximize the moment. It's been a minute since we've been here, but you know, your girl has some business stuff going on. But we're back, and we need to have some Diddy talk on today. But before we get into it, y'all, guess what? Today is a very special day for a very special confidant. So we need to pause for a second because we need to say happy birthday to Progressive One. Y'all ready to sing happy birthday with me? Let's get ready.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Think about
From all of us over here at Champagne Secrets, to you, my dear progressive one, I would like to say happy birthday. We celebrate ours over here, especially those who have been with me from the beginning, and Progressive One has been with me since day one. So I want to take out the time to wish you an amazing happy birthday. May this new year bring you everything that your heart desires. I'm believing it for you. And while we're right there, let's get ready for our dose of empowerment. So take those glasses and raise them high in the air. Let's get ready to toast. Are y'all ready? All right, here's the tea, right? Life is full of shiny distractions, social media drama, everybody else's business, and random detours that have nothing to do with your goals. But let's keep it real. None of that is going to help you secure the bag or live your best life. You've got too much potential to be wasting time on things that won't matter in a year, a month, or even a week. It's time to lock in and cut the fluff. Your dreams are waiting, and the only way to get there is to keep your eyes forward, stay in your lane, and boss up. You're not here for the sideshows. Love, you're here for the spotlight. Repeat after me. I'm done entertaining distractions. Because my future is calling, and it's serving champagne and VIP access to greatness. Here's to you, Confidant, for you are worth it. Y'all ready to get into this story? So listen. Y'all know all over the airwaves it's been nothing but Diddy, 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 Diddy. Lord, every time you turn around, is something new that's coming out, something new. And I was perusing the streets of YouTube, and I ran across another press conference with this lawyer speaking about the fact that over 200 more victims have come out in this Diddy case. Here's my thing, right? Because after Cassie got the big payoff, right? There was blood in the water. So any and everybody that had an interaction was able to come out. So now here's the problem, because you're going to have to weed through real victims, and you're going to have to weed through those individuals who feel like they can get a payday. That's what you're going to run into with this situation, because over 200 individuals have come out. Then they're talking, you know how the movie said, show me the money, show us the videotapes. Who's on the tapes? That's what they need to be releasing to us. Because why are they dumping all of this on Diddy if there's so-called videotapes with other celebrities and prominent figures on them? Why isn't everyone named in this lawsuit? Why? Why isn't everyone being brought up with indictments? Why? And again, I say, who are we covering for? Who's at the top? What do we say all the time on this channel? The oil drips from the head down. If there's a problem pooling at the bottom, you don't just pay attention to the bottom. You need to climb to the top until you find out where the leak is. Where's the leak in this situation? In other words, where's the person who kept the leak clogged all of this time? Everyone who had knowledge of this. And everybody's talking about Diddy's parties. There's nothing wrong with going to a party. The problem comes in when you stayed when the party took a turn for the left, went down the stairs, and straight to hell. If you stayed and witnessed people being victimized, if you stayed and witnessed abuse, I heard there are children involved in some of these tapes, allegedly. If you stayed for this, then you're just as guilty as the individuals who were involved. So why are they not being brought up on charges? If you right now, with one of your friends, decided to go and rob a house, if the owner of that house pulled out a pow pow and decided to shoot at you and your friend for attempting to rob their house, and your friend was unalived in the attempt to rob that house, which forced that owner to take their pow pow and fill y'all up with hot lead, you would be charged with your friend's unaliving, because it was committed, because you were there when the act was committed and you were a part of it. You were the cause of it with your friend. So if you can be charged in that instance, how is it all of these individuals that seemingly sat in these parties, went to party after party after party after party, and the only person that's being brought up in this indictment is Diddy? Please make it make sense. Who are they covering for? I'm going to say it every time we get on one of these videos and talk about this Diddy case. Homeland Security does not come from for regular individuals. Homeland Security only deals with issues that have to do with securing the homeland. So if Homeland Security was involved in this, what does that tell us? If Secret Service gets involved in something, it has to do with securing the presidency. If Homeland Security gets involved in something, what does that let you know about this case? In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, either something will mysteriously happen to Diddy, allegedly, or somehow this case is going to be dropped. The case is going to be dropped and it's going to be labeled an issue to national security. There's too many people involved. Too many big names. Names so big they refuse to name them. They could have put these names out. They put out names of everybody else. If me and you would have did something, our names would be blasted all over the TV. Who are they protecting? But I want us to take out the time to listen to this news conference that was just done about this lawyer who began getting calls from individuals who wanted to come out and join in a lawsuit against Diddy for alleged crimes against them. So we're going to listen to it together. I also have the audio of the interview that Jaguar Wright did with Pierce. And we're going to also listen to that. And I'm going to be dropping the link for anyone who wants to come up and have a conversation, because I want to know what you guys think about this whole situation. Not just Diddy, because look, Diddy is going down. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He is going down, but he shouldn't be going down alone, is what I'm saying. Who are the people involved in this that should be going down with him? Name names. Put it on the table. I feel like all of this is a ploy to bring down everything. Hollywood, as some people call it, Hollyweird. The music industry. It's all corrupt. They're all involved. But what's even worse than that are the individuals who allowed this to happen for so long. All of these people who are coming out now, and I'm not talking about the victims. I'm talking about all these so-called whistleblowers who are coming out to tell their story of what happened. Where were you when this was going on? Where were you when Cassie was being abused? Where were you before Kim lost her life? Because that would have been the time to speak up. But I guess everybody was scared, right? But we're going to check this out. And I want to know what you guys think about it. Drop in the comments, because I will be in the comments in the chat with you. Let's get ready. Hold on one second to get into it.
After the indictment of Sean Combs and the announcement that we were pursuing these claims, the floodgates opened. People who wouldn't otherwise, for a variety of reasons, are now stepping forward to make their voices heard and to pursue justice. But no, most of these people are scared. They fear backlash in their communities. They fear backlash in their own families. They are afraid of retaliation from the perpetrators and their associates. They are rightly afraid for their own personal safety. I expect that through this process, many powerful people will be exposed. Many dirty secrets will be revealed. We know what we are potentially up against. And as is always the case in situations like this, when a celebrity is involved, people can be downright mean and nasty. You would be shocked at the length fans will go, no matter the evidence to the contrary, to defend celebrities they love. I mean, there's a reason for this word fans. They're fanatics. I've personally already been threatened multiple times on social media. And when I agreed to pursue this, I expected as much. This isn't my first rodeo. But victims who step forward to have their voice.
And where do we get that behavior from? Like press damn pause. Like, how old are we in the world today that we are so fanned out over these damn celebrities that we are willing to send death threats to each other? That we're willing to go in the street and go 30 rounds with each other over celebrities that wouldn't know who you were if you stood in front of them in public. But we fighting for these celebrities? How many of these celebrities are fighting for you? If you needed to pay your rent, would them celebrities give you the money for it? If you needed to put food on your table, they got your back. But some of y'all be out here 10 toes behind these celebrities. 10 toes. Ready to fight when somebody says the least little thing about them. We got to get it together. We not too old for this. At what point do we stop trying to cover individuals in their wrong because this is someone that we like, someone that we're drawn to, someone that we're idolizing? Let's just call it what it is. We make these celebrities idols. We damn near worship them. But what are they doing for you? So I can't disagree. I can't say I don't like Nicki Minaj. I can't say that. I can't say I don't like Cardi B. Because if I say I don't like Nicki Minaj, then I got to deal with the bars. If I say I don't like Cardi, then I got to deal with Body Gang. How old are we? I think a lot of us is stuck in Never Land, just scared to grow damn up. Somehow we're looking at these kids and stuff that's going on the TV, and we're trying to relive our wonder years. Kids trying to grow up and adults trying to be kids again. So just the blind leading the damn blind all over the place and causing nothing but havoc and destruction and leaving wrecks in everybody's paths. Because we can't get it together. Because everybody is so hungry for damn power. This case isn't about sex. This case is about power. I feel like if I have enough power, I can say and do whatever the hell I want to, and I am untouchable. If my name gets big enough, then you can't touch me. And what is our phrase, confidants? Power corrupts. Absolute power absolutely corrupts. So you have a bunch of people running around with power who are absolutely corrupt. You have a whole system that's absolutely corrupt.
Is heard should not be subjected to that kind of conduct. They should not be targeted. I want to say this, and I want to be clear about it. Although we are vetting each call as stringently as we can, I always start with a mindset that I believe victims. I believe victims because I understand the tremendous courage it takes to step forward. So if you're watching this, please hear me. If you're out there and you have been victimized, you are not alone. There is a great strength in numbers. You can seek redress. You can obtain justice. We can help you, and we will help you. That being said, as stated, we are vetting every call that we receive. We have had to turn away some. For each, we ask for corroboration. For each, we ask for the identity of witnesses. We also have collected pictures, videos, texts. We check venues, we check dates. We want to corroborate that the claims being made have legitimacy and merit. We have on staff now a former detective from the Major Offenders Unit of Houston Police Department who is helping us vet each claim. We're using our common sense. We're being stringent because, as I said, these are not easy cases. They're very tough. The process is hard, and in some cases, the process is very lengthy. These cases are hard to prove. Many times, it's the victim's word against the alleged perpetrator. Each of these victims will no doubt be publicly attacked by the alleged perpetrators, and in some cases, the general public. The feckless and cowardly keyboard warriors love to attack. We know what we're up against. We did not enter this fray blindly. I wish it was my last such fray. I wish this type of behavior wasn't so pervasive, but it is what it is, so we will press on. As I said, our law firms have been retained by 120 individuals at this point to pursue cases in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs. You should know, in this group, it is evenly divided between males and females. There are 60 males and 60 females who have joined us to pursue these claims as plaintiffs. In this group, 62% identify as African American, 30% are white, and the remainder are Hispanic or Asian. The victims are from more than 25 states. The majority are from California, New York, Georgia, and Florida. And I want to focus on the ages of these victims. When you talk about the ages of the victims when the conduct occurred, it's shocking. Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old. We have one who was 15. 25 of the 120 individuals who are plaintiffs in these cases were minors at the time of the acts complained of. The time frame of the acts complained of is very wide. The conduct at issue spans from the years 1991 all the way till this year, 2024. If you wonder why there are so many alleged victims, that's your answer. We're talking about more than 25 years of this type of conduct. Now, although most of the victims who have stepped forward were victimized after 2015, this has been going on for a very long time. Now, when you think about the fact that some of this conduct occurred 25 years ago, and you wonder why would it take somebody so long to step forward, I want to remind you that many states in the United States have recognized that it's very difficult for a victim to step forward and to make these types of allegations when something very terrible has happened to them. I'll use New York, the state of New York, as an example. The state of New York has specific
Y'all know it's lawyers sitting in the cut saying, somebody please call me and mention Diddy name. Y'all know it is. This case has gotten so big, all kind of lawyers are getting calls. I know lawyers sitting in their office like, just please, just somebody. Dial my number and mention Diddy name. Mention a party and I'm on it. Because this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. How over 200 victims? Over 200 victims. In the span of 25 years. Is absolutely diabolical. And nobody knew anything. Nobody said anything. Everybody just let it happen. But here's my question, right? My question is, how much of this is really victims and how much of this is buyer's remorse? How much of this is individuals who feel like they signed up for something, didn't realize what they really signed up for. And by the time they realized what they signed up for, it was too late. They'd already done it, partook in it, and now they're having buyer's remorse. They're having regret because of a choice they made. As opposed to the individuals who are actually victims. How do you differentiate between the two? Because that's what they're going to have to do in court. That's what they're going to have to do if this thing goes to trial. They're going to have to prove these victims that have come forward and these statements and stories that they are putting forward, they are going to have to prove that these were actually victims and these individuals are not experiencing guilt from a decision they decided to make. And if they choose the wrong individuals from these 200 that came forward, they're going to have a battle on their hands. Because do you honestly think all 200 were telling the truth? 250? Do they have proof? What's the proof? Put the information on the table. Or the problem is they can't put the information on the table, because if they put the information on the table of what they have, then the other people who are involved in this can begin to run and can begin to destroy evidence. But here's the thing. If no one else's name comes up in this indictment, this is a setup. Not a setup because he didn't do it. It's a setup because they want him to take the fall for all of it. Because if I can put it all on you, it takes the attention off me. You got to think about it. If you look at any company in corporate America, what is there? At the top, you have the CEO. You have the individual who started the company. Underneath him, you have what? The CFO. You have what? The COO. Underneath them, you may have your managers, your supervisors, or whatever. What am I saying? At the level that he's at, right? Within most companies in corporate America, you don't see the CEO. For the most part, you don't see the CFO or the COO unless corporate comes to town and they're all coming to visit. Those individuals at the top are usually silent and they're unseen. The individuals that you see are the individuals that run the day-to-day of the business, the managers, the supervisors, right? We see Diddy. So if he's this much in the light, then he's not all the way at the top. Baby, he's a manager. He's a supervisor. He's someone on a level where he can be seen. My question is, who is it up there that's above him? The COO, the CFO, the CEO of all of this. Who is it that we don't see? Who is it in this situation that should be scared, but isn't? Because that's the question.
Statutes in place that revive claims that are even claims that would typically be not able to be brought, that it revives such claims and they can be brought even 25 to 30 years later. Because there's a recognition there in New York and California and other states that it's very difficult for a victim to come forward. And I would respectfully suggest the only reason many of these people are coming forward because they see other victims coming forward. And it gives them some comfort that, hey, I won't be the only one. And I expect more victims will come forward. You know, there's an old saying that says, a lie has great speed, but truth has endurance. The acts complained of in these cases that we're going to file occurred primarily in New York, either Manhattan or the Hamptons, or occurred in California, primarily in Los Angeles, or in Florida, primarily in Miami. Most of these events and incidents occurred at parties, typically after parties, or album release parties, New Year's Eve parties, 4th of July parties, something they called a puppy party, the all-white party, although several of these events occurred at auditions. Many times, especially young people wanting to break into the industry, were coerced into this type of conduct in the promise of being made a star or in the promise of having Sean Combs listen to their tape or even let them read for Sean Combs. You should know that some of this behavior occurred at well-known venues in New York City. Some of this behavior occurred at private residences of people that we all know. Some of this behavior occurred at hotels that we're all familiar with. You should know that more than 55% of the victims filed reported this conduct to either the authorities, that is the police, or to hospitals. We're in the process of collecting with our team assistants medical records, reports that were made to the authorities, and I've already said that some of the individuals in this group did in fact talk to the FBI. You should know that several of the individuals, and when I say several, I mean many, who did in fact seek medical treatment were drug tested, and drugs were found in their system, weird drugs that you probably never heard of. One in particular that continues to pop up is a drug called xylazine or trank, which based on our research is known as a horse tranquilizer. Now, there's been a lot of reports that we're filing a class action. This is not a class action. Class action is when one or two people file a case on behalf of a group of people. That's not this. These cases will be individual cases. Each case will live and die on its own merit. These cases will be filed individually, one plaintiff against whoever the defendants were involved in the case. Each case may be filed in one venue like California, another case may be filed in New York. One case may sue just Sean Combs, but multiple other people. One case may sue a range of people. I would expect most, though, to be filed, as I said, thinking or hoping or perhaps believing that I may start naming names. Well, that day will come, but it won't be today. The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved. They will be revealed when that particular individual case is ready to be filed. They already know who they are. And I'm talking here, about not just the cowardly but complicit bystanders. That is, those people that we know watched this behavior occur and did nothing. And I'm talking about the people that participated, encouraged it, egged it on. They know who they are. I call them the facilitators of foul play, willing participants in vile conduct. As we identify them, each will be part of this case as defendants. These defendants will not only include individuals, but would also include corporate entities who ultimately profited off of this culture and behavior. I'm looking at banks, pharmaceutical companies, hotels. We know.
Y'all, there's no way this case makes it through court. No way. There's no way that I can see them allowing this case to go all the way through. No way. There's too many additional people implicated in this. It is way too big. I don't even think people understand how big this thing is. This is no longer about just Diddy. If you're listening to what he's saying this is no longer about just Diddy. This is way bigger than him. Banks, pharmaceutical companies. So what are they saying? Pharmaceutical companies allegedly provided him under the table with the medications that he used to allegedly SA individuals? What are we saying? Are we saying that the banks knowingly hid money that they knew was dirty? Please tell me, how do you think this is going to make it all the way through court? How? If something doesn't, again, I say, mysteriously happen to Diddy before this thing even gets underway. Let me know what you guys think.
That many of these individuals were paid cash. We know that many of these individuals involved, whether they were the ones being assaulted and abused, or they're witnessing other people being assaulted and abused and then paid and threatened and told to leave. Typically paid 10 grand in cash and told to leave. And then threatened as they were leaving.
Hey, Father Luck, and welcome. And everyone else that's watching. While you guys are coming in, please do me a favor and drop a big happy birthday in the chat for one of my A1s from day one. One of my confidants, Progressive One. It's his birthday today. And we're going to play the happy birthday song again soon as we get through with this video. But thank you for the super chat, Father Locke.
So in addition to Sean Combs, you should know the defendants in these cases we're going to file will include anyone, of course, who engaged in the assault or exploitation, anyone who participated in such in any way, anyone who encouraged or facilitated this conduct, anyone who was in the room and watched it happen but made no effort to stop it, any venue or venue owner who was aware of what was going on but failed to stop it, any individual or entity who knew about the conduct and benefited from it but did nothing to report it or stop it, and any individual or entity who covered it up or helped cover it up. These people who know who they are should just come forward now. I would imagine, as we speak here, there are a myriad of people who are very nervous. You can't hide skeletons in the closet forever. I would expect there are many people out there right now who are desperately searching their memories as they delete their texts and data. Now, although these are, in fact, individual cases, there is a common theme, an MO, if you will. Typically, the victim is lured into a situation where he or she is given a drink, Typically that drink, reported by these victims, is apparently laced with something. Once that drink takes effect, the perpetrators perform all kinds of sexual acts on the victims, many times passing him or her around as other people watch and enjoy the show, and then leave the victim ashamed, confused, injured, and wondering what happened. When the victim reaches out, he or she is told not to say anything. Sometimes there are threats of physical violence or financial repercussions or bodily harm. The claims we intend to bring will include the following: violent sexual assault or rape, sexual abuse, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, false imprisonment, compelling prostitution, sexual misconduct, dissemination of video recordings, false imprisonment, sexual abuse of minors. Given the large volume of cases, and given our other docket obligations, and given the fact that we want to be sure when we file these cases that they are fully vetted, I expect we'll start filing these cases against Sean Combs and other perpetrators within the next 30 days. Now, it's rare, sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, this type of activity is pervasive in our society, and it's rare we get a chance where we can really focus on this as a country and really focus on this about how pervasive this is and what we as collectively can do about it. So I thought I'd take this opportunity before I go into some of the individual cases and talk about some of the individual claims being made and so you'll get a sense of what this 120 people group looks like individually. I want to bring forward Carrie Paul. She's a national victim advocate who helps victims who have been victimized by this type of conduct. And she has some important words, and I hope you'll pay close attention. I think it's important that you hear from her.
Hello, I'm Carrie Paul with the National Victim Advocate. It's not easy for any survivor to come forward. Our culture doesn't believe survivors. It blames and questions them. Instead of showing support, many choose to enable abusers. The media runs stories asking why it took so long for survivors to come forward instead of asking what barriers exist. We also don't equip law enforcement with the ability to handle sexual assault crimes. Lack of funding translates to lack of training. We have officers in the field that don't know what to say to a rape victim, and also an alarming amount of backlogged, untested rape kits. Prosecutors are focused on what they can prove in a case, and if so, how to do that at time of trial. Advocates and staff are stretched thin with growing caseloads in the criminal justice system. Most people don't know how the criminal justice works in general. There isn't enough staff or resources to adequately explain the entire process to every victim and survivor. Our culture works against victims and survivors every day, and abusers know this. Abusers work themselves into positions of power, building a public image that is trusted and financially large enough to make people look away. Abusers are unfortunately very skilled at power and control, the foundation of abuse. They seek victims who are vulnerable, such as children, their employees, and their intimate partners, all who see a different version than the public does, all who rely on the abuser in some way. And for those that do come forward and aren't believed, face questions like, are you sure it happened that way? Were you drinking? What were you wearing? All of this creates an environment that enables abusers to continue abusing them and future victims. To the survivors that have come forward despite not being believed at some point in time, your courage is like nothing we have seen before. We thank you for coming forward for yourself and all survivors. And lastly, I want all survivors that are watching this to know we believe you and we support you. Thank you.
I want you now to hear from my co-counsel, Andrew Van Arsdale. We've created a sexual abuse hotline, and I want him to visit with us just a few moments about how that works and the kind of volume of calls we've received.
Thank you, Tony. Like Tony said, my name is Andrew Van Arsdale. I'm the managing partner of Baby A Law Group. We have offices in California, Montana, and North Carolina. To build off of what you just so well said, it's very hard to come forward. And given what we've experienced the past 10 days is really unprecedented in my career, at least. We represent thousands of survivors of abuse. And never, ever in a 10-day period have we seen over 3,000 people come forward where we've confirmed and decided to investigate and represent 120 people while we're continuing to work through another 100 plus cases to prove them up, to validate.
Can y'all imagine how many people would have to be involved for there to be over 3,000 alleged victims? Just stop and think about that. In a room filled with individuals, how many individuals do you think would need to be there if you were going to harm a group of individuals at your party? These are things we got to stop and think about when we start thinking about how big this thing really is. Over 3,000 phone calls. And like I said, now I know all of that probably ain't true. It's probably not all 3,000. Some of those individuals just went to the party, Diddy smiled at them, and they feel like they got a case now. We're not talking about that, but just think about it. Think about how big this will have to be for that many individuals to have been SA'd for that long. And nothing was done about it. And according to everybody who files a report on Diddy, they say he likes to keep videotapes. So you mean to tell me nobody else has seen these tapes? But I forgot. They said that he was selling them on the dark web too. Think about how many people are involved in a cover-up this large for this long. That is just not coming out. Think about the fact that it could have been your child, your nephew, your niece. Where are the parents? Is what I want to know. Because a lot of these individuals were underage, allegedly, when a lot of stuff happened to them. Where were their parents at? Were the parents so engulfed in the fame and fortune that they didn't pay attention to what was going on while their children was trying to pursue fame and fortune? Like the parents with the R. Kelly situation. So you just let your kids go. Sure, daughter, it's okay for you to stay all night in the studio with a grown man. Sure, that's okay. Where were the parental figures in the situations like these, with these minors, with this individual? So now you got to start bringing the parents on the table. Parents, police, government officials, judges, and that's just on a low level of involvement. Again, I say, Secret Service, people who have to do with national security do not come deal with regular people unless it's a matter of national security. And that's why I don't feel like this case is going to make it all the way through trial. I don't think it's going to make it all the way. Something is going to happen to disrupt this because it's way too big and there's too many people involved.
What had happened here and to hold those that are responsible accountable. And so like Tony said, we've set this up. It's 1-800-200-7474. I have a team of people standing by literally. If you know that this happened to someone and you have information about it, please contact us. If this happened to you, come forward. There's attorney-client privilege here. What you tell us is in confidence. Yes, we'll have to go out and build your case, but we will protect you. And the other thing that I want to say is the pattern and practice of this, again, is unprecedented. Over 30 plus years of the same sort of events happening, people thrust into the circle reportedly, and horrible things happening to them as a result. And from talking to these people that have come forward these past 10 days, I can tell you unequivocally that because the federal government did what it needed to do and indicted this man, that they put him in jail and a judge kept him in jail, they tell me directly, this validates my feelings. For so long, I thought it was my fault. What is it about me that put myself in that scenario? What was I wearing at the time? What did I do to be subjected to such horrific treatment at these people that I was trying to trust? Well, we know now it was not your fault. You were victimized by a group of powerful people that operated for 30 plus years, taking advantage of their wealth and the power that they held within the music industry. So again, thank you to every single person that has come forward and contacted our office over the past 10 days. If you or someone you know suffered the same sort of treatment, please contact us at the number behind me and we will help you. Thank you.
I think it speaks to how important this issue is in the United States and frankly internationally, that we have reputable people here that want to provide kind of information that I think victims need to hear, witnesses need to hear, the public needs to hear. Let me introduce to you now Olivia Rivers from the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault, and let her visit with you a few moments about these types of cases.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Q Olivia Rivers. I am just served my 6th year as the board chair for the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault. I'm also the CEO for the Bridge Over Troubled Waters, which is a local rape crisis center here in the Houston area. So thank you for being here as we address these heinous crimes. Sexual assault is not just a crime of violence against the body. It's an assault on the very essence of human dignity and safety. It shatters lives, it destroys confidence, and all too often, it leaves survivors feeling like they are voiceless, isolated, and vulnerable. The reality for many survivors is that coming forward to report their assault is one of the most difficult and daunting tasks that they will ever have to do. And for some, it may take days, months, or even years to speak up, if they ever do. The reasons for this have been mentioned, but include the fear of being disbelieved, being blamed or judged, and, of course, retaliation. The trauma of the assault itself being compounded by the trauma of the criminal justice process, where survivors must relive their experience in order to seek justice. And these feelings and fears are further exacerbated when the allegations are against prominent figures in the entertainment industry or Hollywood. Cases involving powerful figures often attract significant media attention, which can deter victims from coming forward due to fear of public exposure or scrutiny. The intense focus on these high-profile cases can make survivors feel that their personal lives are being put under a microscope, causing further emotional distress. These allegations mentioned here today, as reported, reflect deeply troubling claims that deserve thorough investigation, and no individual, regardless of their stature, is above the law or public accountability. Sadly, the statistics paint a very disturbing picture. According to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men will experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime. In the U.S. alone, there are approximately 463,000 victims of rape or sexual assault every year, and these numbers barely scratch the surface, as sexual violence remains one of the most underreported crimes. But the numbers that follow tell an even more troubling story. Only about 23% of sexual assaults are reported to law enforcement. Of those, just 5% lead to an arrest, and even fewer, less than 1% of reported cases, ever result in a conviction, which is a devastating gap between the crime and the justice that survivors deserve. I want to briefly focus on our state here in Texas. According to the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault, 6.3 million Texans, men and women, will experience some form of violence. That's every 2 minutes someone is sexually assaulted, meaning during the course of this press conference, around 60 individuals will forever be changed by this violence. And those are just a few of the victims. Obviously, this is unacceptable. We cannot allow this cycle of silence and inaction to continue. We have to create an environment where survivors feel empowered to come forward, where they are met with empathy and respect and support, not skepticism and blame. We have to ensure that our legal system is equipped to handle these cases with the seriousness they deserve, and that survivors have access to the resources that they need beyond the legal courtroom. We have to address the root causes of this epidemic: prevention, awareness, and fostering environments where respect, consent, and safety are non-negotiable values. Additionally, support for survivors has to be holistic. They have to have access to counseling, medical services, legal advocacy, and of course, community support, regardless of whether they choose to report or not. To every survivor who has come forward, your bravery is an inspiration. To those who are still grappling with their decision, know that you are not alone and that your voice matters. Your story matters. We see you, we believe you, and we are committed to fighting for a future where sexual violence is no longer tolerated and where justice is not the exception, but the standard. Thank you.
Before we close here, about some specific instances, without disclosing the victim's name, you probably know that depending on the age of the victim, you can file these cases, these individual cases, under Jane Doe or John Doe. Each state is different in that respect. Typically, there is a balancing test, like the public's right to know the name of the victim and plaintiff versus the confidentiality and the safety of the plaintiff. So we'll have to struggle with that with each one of these cases. Our intention, of course, is to, like we always do, file these cases under a pseudonym until the court tells us otherwise. But let me share with you a few, just kind of give you a sense of the kind of cases and the kind of instances that people are calling and reporting that we are trying to corroborate, vet, and these are the ones that we've already corroborated, vetted, and collected evidence on. One individual who was 22 years at the time she was assaulted said that the typical MO at one of these parties that have been widely discussed in the press was that when you were handed a drink, and now we know that the drink is laced with something, if you refused to drink it, you were kicked out of the party. Now, let that sink in for a minute. I mean, the admission to this party was that you had to drink the chosen drink that was handed to you. And now we know that in most cases, I would say 90% of the cases, these individuals were drugged with some sort of drug. That was kind of the MO. Another instance, this individual who was 9 years old at the time was taken to a audition in New York City with Bad Boy Records. Other boys were there to audition as well. All of them were trying to land a record deal. All of them were minors. This individual was sexually abused, allegedly by Sean Combs and several other people at the studio in the promise to both his parents and to him himself of getting a record deal.
Press down pause. What did I just say earlier? What did we just do? First of all, to the 22-year-old that he mentioned, why is it that we do this to ourselves is what I want to know. If you got to force me to drink something in order to be at your party, and the only way I can stay at your party is I got to drink the mystery drink, I got to take the potion, then I'm finna go. Have we lost like the switch that goes off in our head that lets us know, like, maybe we need to go? It's about to be a full moon in here, and it's not even a full moon outside. We don't have our spidey senses don't start going off to alert us. Danger, something's wrong, something's off. No one has discernment to know this is probably a location I probably shouldn't stay at. I want to know how these individuals got invited to these parties. That's what I want to know. I want to know what the conversation was with them about the party, about what was going to happen at the party. That's what I want to know. I want to know, when did these individuals realize that the party was taking a turn for the Twilight Zone, for the outer limits? And here's the crazy thing, because people ate Bill Cosby up. Ate him up when he caught his charges. Ate him up. Meanwhile, Diddy over here acting out his own damn movie at his own expense, allegedly, holding people hostage to play roles in his personal film, allegedly. But we ate Bill Cosby up. Not only that, but it's the fact of the matter that half of Hollywood is involved in it. All the top actors that we loved. You hear I said ED? Entertainment industry. Half of the entertainment industry that we grew to love. All of them involved. So they was all willing to do something strange for a piece of change. All of them. They all at Diddy party shaking a tail feather. All of them. Allegedly. Come on, y'all. Why do we have this selective outrage with who we want to be outraged about? And how long we want to be outraged about it? Show us the tapes. Who's on the tapes? Who was at the parties? Drop the names. Who allowed this to happen? Who was involved? Who showed up at the masquerade? Because right now, everybody's quiet. All of Hollywood is hush hush. Entertainment industry is hush hush. Outside of people who doing everything they can to try to disprove they was involved. But this is what happens when we get so eager to jump up and be a part of something. Everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to be on top. How many people have the mental, emotional, spiritual aptitude to be on top and not just be a follower? A lot of these people had a price, but they didn't count up the cost of what it would cost them to be paid that price. I think a lot of these individuals have buyer's remorse. They got what they thought they wanted until they got it and realized they didn't really want it. And then on the other side, you got victims. But now you got to weed out the two. So you got all these people coming forward, and now you got to weed out, because if you put the wrong people in the case, then you take the chance of the entire case being jeopardized, because you've included individuals who weren't victims in a case about victims. This case is getting weirder and weirder.
Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but he needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged, and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor, was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her.
Again, where is her mammy? Her pappy? Where are their parents? Because the parents need to be brought up in charges too. I don't care how old the kids are now. You allegedly sold your child to a grown man for the chance at fame and fortune. So you didn't stop to think about the mental, emotional, and spiritual damage that will be done to your, and physical damage that will be done to your child. Having grown individuals run up in them for fame and fortune. This is what we were doing. And we wonder why we have a generation of kids so overly sexualized that everything is about sex. We wonder. Just to have the bag, just to be at the top, you willing to throw your standards to the wind? You willing to throw your morals to the wind? Hell, some of them don't even have standards because they were never taught standards. They don't have morals because they've never seen morals. They don't have a dream because they've never seen anyone dream for real. Babies, 9 years old, for the opportunity to be a part of Bad Boys Records. You allow your child to go and be prostituted? Because we got to call a thing a thing. Because you took your children there and left them with a room full of predators, allegedly, to hurt them again and again and again. Bitch, the door. And we wonder why these kids don't have respect for adults now. Because a lot of us are the ones that put them in fucked up situations that they trying to pray their way out of now. We wonder why they don't listen to us. We wonder why. We wonder why they don't seek sound wisdom. We wonder why. Because was it wisdom that let a parent leave their child with predators to be abused? Where was the wisdom in that? But they didn't care about wisdom when all they saw was a dollar sign And we wonder why we got a generation of kids who are chasing the bag. The bag, the bag, the bag. They not trying to build an empire. They not trying to secure generational wealth. They're chasing a bag by any means necessary. You see why?
To both his parents and to him himself of getting a record deal. Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but he needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown.
You can't tell me this baby didn't come out of there and tell his parents what happened. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me there was nobody that this baby shared that this happened with. You can't tell me that. How Denzel Washington say in Training Day? Not in Training Day. In oh my God, it's my favorite movie. Anyway, how he say in that movie? Anybody that saw it, anybody that looked at me, anybody that knew about it, everybody that was a part of it, everybody that knew about it, everybody that saw it, everybody that heard it, everybody that thought it, everybody that allowed it ought to go down. And we wonder why our children are struggling the way they are now. Because of all of the stuff that we allowed to happen to them. Because we saw another opportunity to live our life through them. We saw another opportunity to fulfill our dreams through them. So we were willing to put them at risk to get it. And we wonder why the baby's so depressed now. We wonder why they unaliving themselves left and right. We wonder why they have no coping skills. We wonder why parents aren't the ultimate authority in children's lives anymore. This is why.
To New York City to attend a party, was drugged and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor, was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her. Another individual, 26 at the time of the occurrence, was picked up allegedly by Mr. Combs and several other people in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her anus, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes. Another instance, an individual, this time not a minor, attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again allegedly, with Mr. Combs in his mansion in Miami. Her vagina and her anus were torn and sore. And I could go on. I mean, literally, you're sensing a theme here. It's the same theme.
So nobody saw these girls be taken from one location to the next. There was no video cameras that picked this up. Nobody in these locations saw none of this happening. No one. No one cared enough to come to any of their defense. No one. Because to him, these individuals were nothing more than a piece of meat to enjoy. They were just for his enjoyment. That was it. But no one else? I saw that, Niecy B. I saw that they had the tunnels, allegedly, under the mansion. But no one thought enough. No one cared enough about these girls. No one looked at these girls and saw, that could be my niece. That could be my daughter. That could be my grandchild. No one thought enough to protect them? Have we really gotten so far away from God as a people that we no longer care about protecting each other? Is that where we are as a people right now? That we no longer care about each other's well-being, each other's safety? That we can sit back and watch individuals being abused? This woman was carried from one location to the next. No one cared to make sure she was okay. Nobody. And they all knew what was going to happen to her. Because people that get away with stuff once don't stop. Because then they start feeling like they're untouchable. That's it, Niecy. We've been so desensitized to this stuff. That we walk around like this. This is how we walk around.
Hey, that ain't got shit to do with me. That ain't got shit to do with me. That ain't got shit to do with me. That ain't got shit.
That's everybody right now. We just sit back and look at it like it ain't us. As long as it ain't us, it don't matter. As long as it's not my child, it don't matter. As long as it's not my niece, it don't matter. But then when it is you or one of yours, then you want everybody to run to your rescue. Where was the world when I was hurting? Where were you when these babies were hurting? These were somebody's children. Y'all, this is sick. On so many different levels. Because the more and more this thing goes on, the more and more you realize that this is way much bigger than Diddy. This is a whole system.
And it all involves some sort of drug. One instance, an individual who was 20 years old at the time was asked to attend, just saw her on the street, asked to attend a party in a hotel. She was flattered, went to the party, was given one drink and doesn't remember anything else. Ultimately, was so messed up, went to the hospital where they found cocaine and this horse tranquilizer in her blood system. I want to give you a quote from a very young man who told us over the phone about his experience and all the things that happened to him, he says, allegedly at the hands of Sean Diddy Combs and his friends in the effort to try to sign a record deal. This was kind of what he was told he would have to do. His quote is, "Had he not been in power, I feel like I could have been something great. I quit the industry because of what Sean Combs did to me." And that's really what it comes down to. We are pursuing this, asking you to support this effort, to encourage witnesses and victims to come forward and bring your evidence so we can continue to break down this wall of silence and we can continue to have these stories heard. This is the beginning of what I hope to be a national dialogue. This type of sexual assault, sexual abuse, and sexual exploitation should never happen in the United States or anywhere else. This should have never been allowed to go on for so long. This conduct has created a mass of individuals who are injured, scared, and scarred. If you are one of those individuals, we ask you to reach out. If not to us, to someone you trust. If you are someone who witnessed any of these events, we ask you to reach out. Your name can remain confidential. With that, I'll take a few questions, not many, maybe two, but if you have a question, I'll be pleased to try to answer it. Perfect.
How many minors are making accusations in total, and are the feds aware of the allegations of minors in the case?
I don't know what the feds are aware of, okay, but I do know it's 25 out of this 120.
Tony,
But I will say this to that point. We welcome the FBI or any authority who wants to come to us, and we're going to make that available to these victims because I think that's important. My suspicion is, based on talking with these folks, is that the FBI is just not aware of these people. The FBI has talked to some of these folks, and I'm going to try to encourage the victims to, in fact, talk to the FBI because I think they have some very important things to say.
Tony, were all of the children auditioning because they were musicians, or were any of them kids of employees or anything like that?
All seeking either TV or some sort of music career with promises of, we're going to make you a star. Instead, basically did things to them such that they don't want to have anything to do with the entertainment industry ever again. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your attention. We're going to go now. Thank you.
So that was the interview, the press conference that the lawyer did about over 200 more victims coming out. And they're taking the time to kind of weed through to see what's what with the victims who are coming out. As you heard, he read, some of them are minors or were minors at the time of the incidents. Some of them were young adults, women. Again, I want to know, how did these individuals, not the minors, because it did state that the minors allegedly ended up in the vicinity of Diddy because they were trying out for bad boys. But the young ladies, the individuals who were abused at the Diddy parties, I want to know how they were invited there. How did they get there? What was explained to them about these parties? What was going to happen? What was the intent when they were invited there? What did they think they were getting themselves into as opposed to what actually happened? How did those conversations go? That's what I want to know. Now, we do know, if anybody has been talking about the Diddy situation and talking about Diddy in general, it's been Jaguar Wright. Baby, she been singing like a canary since she been trying to tell the world that Diddy is a snake. She's also made some other allegations. So I did catch an interview she did with Pierce on YouTube. And we're going to play that interview now. It is a lot of audio because, I don't want to get my channel struck. And I don't know how he is. So it is a lot of audio. We do have some clips of the actual video in there. But we're going to check it out right now.
You've been called a whistleblower. You knew Sean Diddy Combs for a long time. You attended a number of his infamous parties. And in 2022, you made headlines after comments where you called him a sex trafficker. And in response, you were called crazy and jealous. Do you feel vindicated by the events of the last few weeks?
No, not at all. Because he's just the beginning. Until him and his cohorts are all held to account publicly and legally, the victims, they're not safe.
How bad was it?
That's what I care about. I care about the victims.
No, I understand. How bad was it, do you think, what was going on?
I'm going to tell you right now that me, as a woman who has been in the industry for over 30 years, I've been performing live since I was 13. My first handler was McKinley Horton. I come to find out 25 years later that a scar that was on his face with a very elaborate story he gave me was put there by a woman who he assaulted. To live through these things and hear your elders in the business, people like Patti LaBelle say, just avoid him, honey. And being taught to be just avoid him, honey. It's not good enough. Not when you live through these things, you're still suffering the PTSD created by all of this, and you're talking to a victim that's 20 years younger than you, and she's telling you the exact same thing that happened to you.
So
you want to know why there's no vindication for me? Because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop.
There's been obviously a lot of
cruelty-free artistry.
Right. There's been a lot of rumor mill about what has happened in the rap world. A lot of allegations that the misogyny in the lyrics clearly was based on a general misogyny towards women away from the music. And that clearly seems to have been borne out by these charges against Diddy, which if he's found guilty of all this, he's never coming out of prison. How dangerous do you think?
Thank God.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to rape it for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous. And everyone knows Diddy was selected for this job. He's the Judas.
Do you think that if he's cornered in the way that he's been now, that he may start revealing things about other people?
He has no choice. His ego and his drug addiction won't allow him to do anything different. Anybody who thinks he's not going to talk is crazy. The simple fact that he's not saying more now only means that the people who have been protecting him all along, who put him in position to be such a horror to the Black community, still find value in him. He's got everybody on tape. They all know it. It's a mess.
For those who were never at these freak-off parties, what were they like?
See, this is the thing. Everything that I'm about to say to you is not my firsthand knowledge. It is my firsthand witness account experience. I was a sex worker. I was a dominatrix before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand. That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes. I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases, dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying. And it's all done under the protection of, this is going to be paid off. There's another NDA. This is going to be, it's terrible.
It seems to have been something that a lot of people knew about, but people were simply too scared to talk about.
Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well. The whole point of this, like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier this year, the whole point of this is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on.
It's awfully funny to me that everybody talks about how crazy Jag is, right? But why haven't we seen an NDA come out? A cease and desist? A keep my name out your mouth? It's not true. Why haven't we seen any? We've seen Cardi B sue Tasha K. We've seen Kevin Hart sue Tasha K. We've seen Cardi sue Storm Monroe, or allegedly say she was going to. We've seen Nicki Minaj sue Nosy Ho. So you have all of these people coming out with lawsuits. If this girl is so crazy and she making up all of this stuff, that's defamation of character. Why have we not seen one lawsuit? Do you know why? Because as crazy as they say that Jag is, within every bit of crazy, there's a little bit of truth. That's what we have to admit. Even inside the craziest person in your family that you know this person is missing several screws. Within every crazy person is some truth. The problem is a lot of times it's not a truth we want to hear. And if it's not a truth we want to hear, it's a truth we don't want to come out. Because some truths, when they start coming out, they lead to other truths, which leads to other truths. And that's what we're dealing with in this situation with Diddy. Once one truth came out, oh baby, the doors open and all the truth starts spilling out. Because I can't implicate you without implicating you. And then if I implicate you, I got to implicate you. And if I implicate you, then I got to snatch in them. And once they get pulled in, they're going to pull in all them. That thing is trapped in the closet and starting to spill out.
And it's been going on for years. It's been going on before Diddy. See, people keep looking at him like he's the Sputnik that came out of nowhere. This is someone who was designed to be what he is. We got to stop making Diddies. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go back. We got to go back to even further the mentors of these people. Because Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically. And Clive Davis has been his greatest teacher.
Look, Clive Davis is not here to respond to that, nor is Jay-Z. But a lot of people, famous people in the music industry, have been notable, like I say, by their silence so far. It's also been notable that since the Me Too campaign began in 2017, the music industry has largely avoided the same scrutiny that other industries have had. Why do you think that is?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Since Me Too began in 2017, the music industry has largely avoided the same kind of scrutiny that other industries have had. Why do you think that is?
Well, because the Me Too movement was a ruse. It was a setup. It was a scam. I'm saying that now, publicly. Dream Hampton spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which fueled the Me Too campaign. And that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail. Get his lick back. Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there. If the Me Too movement were real, why aren't they speaking now? They've also been very quiet in this time of the diddler's downfall.
Jaguar,
guess they're on vacation.
If this goes to court, Jaguar, do you think the world is going to be shocked by what comes out?
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know why they are. It's been happening in front of everyone's faces for decades. For decades.
How many victims?
What's the difference between me and Judy Garland? Social media.
How many victims?
There was none for her.
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim?
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Pierce.
Listen, like I said, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately, to respond to that.
I know. I'm just being honest with you.
You're perfectly entitled to your views, obviously. Kim Porter,
yes.
A new book claims that Diddy may have been involved in her early death. What do you think of that?
I think people should really look into that more. I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign. I watched that whole thing happen. And everything that Albert has been through, every attempt on his life that has been ignored by the authorities, it all leads back to Diddy. And everyone knows it. The wiretapping of the phones, putting AirTag on children during visits. These are normal practices that these people do.
Jaguar, I've got to leave it there. I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for caring.
I do care. Thank you very much.
So y'all listen, we're gonna pause it right there. Because there's actually some more to this interview, but I don't want to go across. I don't want to go over 1 o'clock. But drop in the comments and let me know, do you guys think allegedly that Jay-Z and Beyonce are involved in this? Do you think there's anyone in the music industry that is not? Maybe that's the question that we should be asking. Who do you think is not involved in this? Because the more and more days pass in this situation, the more and more names comes out. The names go higher and higher up the totem pole. They've already brought up the mayor of New York. Was it the mayor? With an indictment. Do you think he'll be implicated in this somehow? How many politicians do you think are involved in this? And how high up that totem pole do you think the politicians go that are involved in this? Remember, in any company, there's always a CEO at the top that you don't see. Who is it in this situation that we don't see? That's all over this. Because they're dropping too much heat on one man, as if one single man had the power and authority to pull this off on this magnitude with this many individuals. And they're trying to convince you that he did this by himself with no assistance from people with real power, pull, and authority. Please. Some of y'all watch too much Investigation Discovery to believe that. Who do you think is pulling the strings at the top of this? Who do you think dangled Diddy out in front of everybody? Who do you think is trying to get Diddy to take all of the heat for this so that it takes all of the heat off of them? Who do you think it is? Because if you think this is just about Diddy and some baby oil, oh, you so unready for what's about to happen with this case. Again, I say, if the case goes all the way through trial, because I don't feel like it is. Too much at stake. Too many names. The only way this goes all the way through is they're trying to pull someone high. They're trying to pull someone who's very high down. Only way this goes all the way through. Because this is the kind of case that makes connections. There's no way for one person to start talking and a bunch of other people not start talking. Because that's how we are. That's how we're bred. Watch this. People will come on YouTube, right? And people will watch videos from smaller channels. And they won't comment in the chat. But then they'll go to a bigger channel and comment in the chat because there's more people chatting. People want to be where people are. It's just how we are. If you go to a party and not a lot of people are dancing at the party, you're going to be less inclined to dance. But if you go to a party and everybody is up dancing and the party is full, you're going to be more inclined to dance and party and enjoy yourself. Why? Because it's full. People want to be where the people are. So people are going to flock to where they know the action is going to be. Politicians like action. corporate bosses like action. We know the music industry likes action. That's all they sing about. Who do you think is not involved in this? That's the question we should be asking. Because every time we turn around, another name is coming up. The latest I heard was Denzel, allegedly. How far do you think this thing goes? Who is our Scorpion? Well, we know Diddy is the Scorpion King in our story. Who is our Anubis? Who the one sitting up on the throne that needs to be pulled off the throne? Who is it? Who is everyone trying to protect by pouring all of this heat on Diddy? Does Diddy need to go down? Abso-damn-lutely. But he don't need to go down by himself. Parents need to go down. Law officials need to go down. That hotel that supposedly held on to that video of Cassie for all that time and all of a sudden decided to put it out needs to go down. Everybody who knew about it, everybody who witnessed it, everybody who saw it, everybody who heard it, anybody who was there when it took place, anybody who shared it, anybody who bought it. Because we haven't even gotten into the young lady who came out with her attorney crying about what was done to her. This could not have happened to this many people without help. And I'm not just talking about his boys. I'm talking about people in power who could cover it up and make stuff disappear and make stuff go away. Everyone involved needs to be indicted. They need to share the load of this. This is a singular attempt to bring it all crashing down. It's a singular attempt to make you guys lose faith in the music industry and in Hollywood and all of the actors. And I honestly cannot say that I disagree with it. Because as Jaguar said, this has been going on for a while, and it's been going on right up under our nose. But we've been so busy being entertained. Are you not entertained? We're so busy in the Coliseum screaming for more and more blood that we didn't pay attention to who was holding the swords. Or who was giving the individual with the sword the orders. While they were sitting back on the throne and watching the bloodshed. We didn't pay attention. Because we were so busy looking on the left while all of this was going on the right. Okay, let me make it live for you because clearly you don't understand what I'm trying to say. We were so busy being entertained by the music that we didn't even realize or take the time to see or think about what was happening behind the music. And it's not them. One of these days, we're going to go over to Patreon and we're going to play some music. And when we play the music, we're going to pull up a lot of the old music that has some really suggestive and suspect lyrics in the music that had to do with minors, that had to do with underage, that had to do with all this extra kind of stuff. BBD, for example, Poison, Backstage, Underage, Adolescent. How you doing? Fine, she replied. I like to do the wild thing. Action took place. I need a body bag. We singing the hell out of this song. But now stuff like this makes you think, the hell was I listening to back then? Because we were so busy being entertained that we didn't pay attention to what was going on behind the entertainment. We were so busy trying to reach for the stars that we didn't realize what was going on up there on the star. Everybody was trying to get to Hollywood. Everybody was trying to get into the music industry. And now, all of these years later, we find out it was nothing but allegedly death, destruction, abuse, control, contracts, rituals, sacrifices. I'd rather be poor with 2 dogs, a cat, a goldfish, and a bird than to have money and not really be free. Than to get to the top and realize I no longer have control of my life. And you're right, Niecy B. A lot of these parents were living through their kids. A lot of these parents were trying to find the opportunity to catch whatever they felt like they missed in their youth. And they see their children as an opportunity to relive it again. So you're willing to sell and sacrifice your child for a second chance at the life you never had, at the risk of their mental well-being, of their emotional well-being, at the risk of their safety. We are so far away from God. It is sickening. We don't care about each other. We don't care about life. We don't care about morals. We don't care about standards. All we care about is being entertained. And the attempt to be entertained is going to destroy us all if we're not careful. Drop in the comments and let me know what you think about this one. We're going to continue with part 2 on tomorrow. So we'll have part 2 of the end of this video. Plus, I have some more videos that I have pulled in regards to people coming out and speaking in this Diddy debacle. But again, I say, I want people to stop talking about Diddy, and I want people to start focusing above Diddy. That's what people should be looking into and researching. Who allowed this to happen for so long? Some people say Clive Davis. Who knows? Allegedly. But we need to be looking way higher than Diddy. Again, I say, Homeland Security does not get involved with regular situations and regular cases. Homeland Security gets involved when there's a threat to the security of the homeland. So the simple fact that they are even involved in this should let you know this is much bigger than any of us could ever imagine. Drop in the comments and let me know what you think. Do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. We are on our road to 1K. Yeah. Thank you for every video you've watched. Thank you for every share. Thank you for every like. Thank you for every subscribe. Thank you for joining us. As you all know, every video that you see on this channel is created by me, including this beautiful champagne room with these lips and the spinning diamond. All of this is created by me. So I do all of this so that we can have a nice space to view while we're going through our videos. So do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, join the Champagne Gang or the FizzFam. We are partially monetized, so we do have memberships, and my confidants will let you know that we do have fun amongst us in the chat, in our Champagne group chats. We do have a Discord location now that's specifically for members where we can go over. We tried to do our movie night over on Patreon, but YouTube blocked the video. It was crazy. But I realized that we can have our movie nights in Discord. So when we get ready to have our movie nights, we will go over to the Discord where we can chit chat, have fun, and it'll be a place that is specifically for us and our Champagne Gang. Thank you so much. Once again, we want to wish a very happy birthday to Progressive One, who has been my confidant since day one. Drop some champagne glasses in the chat for Progressive One's birthday. Thank you for being a part of the Champagne Gang and helping this channel grow. You are amazing. You do know we are a family over here. So we are going to end the show with a happy birthday for Progressive One. Are y'all ready? But before we go, always remember, if it doesn't cause you to elevate, it's causing you to depreciate. Raise those glasses, clink, and let's drink till we meet again. Ta-ta.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
What we saying one time, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Happy birthday to you. I like that. 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 To you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Come on, come on. Happy birthday. Come on, come on, come on. Come on! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday! 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 All right. Happy birthday to you!
Thank you.